one you can massively argue, and actually, if you look at that Wakefield side, it's interesting again. It's the classic Wakefield thing, isn't it? That they can do well, but they hardly anyone really stands out in that team.
Both of the centres were in contention for the team, but there were so many centres in contention. I plumped for Mark Percival just because of his strike power. I mean, he makes a lot of errors still, but just because of his strike power, and he's fun to watch and that sort of stuff. So I went for Percival as my other centre. In the halves, I made a simple decision here. I looked at which players had created the most opportunities for other players in terms of basically try assists was the driving force. And Myler and Williams, along with Ben Barber, are the three leaders in that category. So I'm quite a bit ahead of other people. So I didn't see any argument to not put George Williams in there, despite maybe people thinking it's just a Wigan point of view. But most Wigan fans kind of slag George Williams these days because they don't think he should be getting paid what he's getting paid. I don't think they understand what we wouldn't have if we didn't have him. It's a complete nonsense.
I think because he's not very flashy. Yeah, he's not very flashy, which then people forget he's there to an extent. They think, oh, it's just they don't notice a lot of the work that he does.
I think Wigan fans tend to notice when he does a bad kick and forget that how many tries he sets up with good kicks, or how many. Or they notice the time when he keeps the ball, when he should have passed it, and miss all the good things that is set up by passing it. We're very critical of George Williams, possibly because of the knowledge that he's on a significant wedge. And Richie Myler tops the way in terms of try assist, so you can't not have him in my side. Thompson, obvs, we've talked about that. David Fafita was my second prop. Now he made the criteria that for me was half the games played.
Yeah.
And I just think he's been absolutely physically imposing. It leads the way out of prop forwards in terms of things like tackle bust and that sort of thing. You know, that basically I'm going to run at you and I'm going to beat you physically. He's been doing that this year. And then Roby's my hooker. And
fair enough. You can't argue with that one.
I don't need to explain it. Liam Farrell is in my second row.
That's a surprise.
Basically, until he starts absolutely messing it up, he's going to be in my team every year for every time I pick any sort of team. He's so consistent.
Yes.
Over 120 metres a game, over 30 tackles a game, maximum 2 misses a game. Okay, they throw in the odd penalty here and there, but he's even reduced his penalty numbers significantly this year. And he scores tries, he sets up tries, he's part of the golden edge, and there you go. Another player who's part of a very strong edge that's picked up my other spot this year so far is Zeb Taylor. I don't think you can argue with the numbers. He's hugely up there in terms of carries per game, so he's putting in a good shift. Is not just there for the glory offloads and that sort of stuff. He's scored a few crucial tries as well for Saints, and he's not letting himself down defensively as much as he has done in the past. And then Sean O'Loughlin locks the scrum for me because he's quite simply is the best number 13 in the world of rugby league still. Even at 35 now, is he?
Possibly.
He's just too good still.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I've justified my selections a little bit more over at the blog, like I say, superleaguepod.com.
So let's bring in some other people's views then, starting with Carsten, the Swiss Cowboy, who says that I would have nearly the same, that's based on Mark's team, but with Luke Gale for George Williams.
Yeah. I mean, Luke Gale's definitely always in the conversation around the halves, isn't he?
Yeah.
And that's another person, and I think a few people have plumped for kind of not sticking to this rigid someone who plays at standoff, someone who plays at scrum half, because so many teams operate split halves now that have almost identical roles but on each side of the pitch. It's a reasonable way to go there to do that. Lee Whitnell, he says lots of the same picks for me too, but then actually there wasn't lots of the same picks. There was less than half the team the same, but there was probably as many similar with yours, if not more.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good across the board. So he's got Ben Barber, who we've both got, Tommy Makinson and Liam Marshall. Liam Marshall we've both got. And he's got Callum Watkins and Mark Percival. I can't argue with any of those choices.
Yep, so in the halves he's got Williams, Richardson, and then...
so it's kind of a mix and match between ours, isn't it?
Yep, up front, Taylor, Darryl Clark at number 9.
Darryl Clark was my second choice hooker. McShane was my third choice hooker, I think. They were my 3 that were the only realistic considerations so far this year. So I can't In fact, Clark has gone into my dream team now. Roby's injured. That's how much I rate how Clark's performing this year.
There we go. He's also got Thompson, which is the lock. I think it's almost the universal constant. In the back row, he's gone for Ashurst, Bateman, and Cuthbertson in brackets because Dr. Bob Phillips said so.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if Cuthbertson's played enough games to have met my minimum games criteria. At the time I did it anyway, which was before the weekend. But so far we've got Barber, Thompson and Marshall carried through to be in all of the teams. So the next one who got in touch was John Scotter, or Joshua's granddad, as some of you may know him, and he's gone very similar to what we've started seeing, but there's a bit of a Hull influence thrown in from him. So he's gone Ben Barber, then Makinson, Watkins, Griffin and Talanoa is his back line. Again, you can't argue with that
not at all.
Back five. He's got Rob Louis and Mark Snide in his halves. Louis is never going to get picked by me for a team. I've got to say.
I think I'm in that. I think I'm definitely in that camp as well. I think that he'd have to do a lot.
And to be honest, Salford did a lot better when he went off this week, which is not underplaying the role he's played for Salford this year, because he has actually been a very good player for them. But
just no. Yeah, it's just no, isn't it?
Well, Ben Barber's in. Ben Barber is close to that. Is close to that sort of situation too, but Robert Louis is not playing like Ben Barber's playing, I suppose. There's legitimate contenders way above Robert Louis on the list for halves, in my view, even though he is having a pretty decent season there for Salford. And Snade, Snade's, to me, not quite done enough yet this season, but Hull have had a couple of good wins in the last couple of weeks, which is a boost for him. Taylor, McShane and Mulhern.
Interesting.
Black and white, putting a red and white in the team there. Mulhern certainly flashed on a couple of TV games, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So that's understandable. And then Liam Farrell, Mike McMeekan and Lockers in the side. He said Gale was in the mix for the halves as well, but he plumped for the two he picked for, probably going home
field
with his homeboy there. So only Ben Barber survives as part of everyone's team so far.
However, the one that breaks it is Rob Ordish, which I had to take a minute. I was like, who's Rob Ordish? And then I was like, of course, it's that boy.
He got in touch over Facebook, which, people who follow us on Facebook and that, make sure you try and put comments on and like the posts and share the posts when we put them up on Facebook. I'm trying to put a bit more on there because it really helps get our spread of exposure.
Yeah, even my mum liked some stuff this week, which was very good. Hello to Mum, and she did listen last week, and she did point out, Mark, that she thinks you sound a bit like Nick Grimshaw.
Nick Grimshaw, the radio guy.
Yeah, I don't personally hear it, but that's.
Well, he's from the north, isn't he? So.
Yeah, my mum must just be a northern racist.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. We get some ginger racism later on as well. I'm getting it from all angles. Yeah, Rob's team. He's given a 17, not a 13, and the most legitimate selection is his number 17 in the squad, which is Ben Barber. The rest can be completely dismissed.
So I think we should give him the airtime. At what fullback he's gone? Truman.
Of course, yeah. He's a great supporter of the show. He deserves to get ridiculed relentlessly.
He's gone Truman, Minikin, Webster, Shenton, Eden. There's a theme developing here. I'm not sure if you can see it. 6, he's gone for Roberts. Gale at 7. Okay, that's fair enough. 8, Millington. 9, McShane. 10, Watts. Holmes, Foster and Milner. Now, I can't work out what the universal thread is there. I just can't. I can't pull it out.
All players who haven't quite yet
got to their full level,
other than maybe McShane.
Possibly it's done. Those who've given a performance but's not quite a champion performance so far. On the bench, he's gone for McMeekan, Moores, Jesse, Sonny Lefeo, and Ben Barber sneaking in.
So Ben Barber, we can give a tick to say he's remained consistent, I suppose, because let's face it, we know what his real team would have been. He's even picked a coach, which is Darryl Powell.
He's picked a referee now. I didn't think you could.
We all need a coach who's lost 3 games so far in the season, out of the 10 they've played. And yeah, he's picked a referee, which is anyone but Robert Hicks.
Fair enough. And
it's remarkable. I went on the Wigan forums today and read a thread that I'd not read yet. That was basically slagging off Robert Hicks from the game. Yet all the Cass fans were slagging off Robert Hicks too. And do you know what? He made about 4 mistakes. on Friday night, I would say that Jake Webster made 3 times as many mistakes and somehow hasn't come in for the same level of singling out. But hey ho, there you go. Sarah McKenzie got in touch as well over Facebook, and she's given her team, and it completes a full set of everyone that's sent in a team so far, for Ben Barber at fullback, and then one interesting selection, I think, in the back line, because she's gone Talanoa, Griffin and Percival, all of which we can completely
all on board
understand.
With that.
Ryan Hall has been picked.
I think it comes back to that standout moment. He's had a couple of standout moments, but it's only a couple.
Well, Ryan Hall's actually leading the way in metres per game of any sort of regular player so far this season, so he is working really hard, but I don't think there's been enough actual real contribution, partly because his centre's been taking all the glory inside him. Ash Hanley, but yeah, there you go. In the half, she's gone Richardson and Snide, then Thompson, Roby, and Fafita in the front row. So she's stumped up the same front row as I have. Bateman and Ben Murdoch-Masilla, interesting. In the back row, and then O'Loughlin at loose forward. So some good choices there.
Yeah, so it's sparked some debate. So if you want to get in touch about any of those, you know how to do so, and we'll recap that at the end of the show.
Yeah, we'll take some more in for next week, and then we'll sort of be in the next phase of the season, I suppose, at that point. So now it's time to have a look at the lengthy news section from around the world of rugby league now. Right then, news now, sponsored by littlewarden.com. If you have a website, then visit littlewarden.com and see what they can do to help you. They can help you with domain expiration checks, redirects, and all sorts of other important background web stuff that they'll make simple for you. Little Warden, monitoring the tedious. And something that maybe has been a bit tedious for some of the Hull FC fans, because judging by the comments. But we start with Hull FC, who have re-signed former England international. That's a bit unfair. Former England international. He's not retired. England international Joe Westerman, after he was released by Championship side Toronto Wolfpack. The 28-year-old made 127 appearances for the Black and Whites between 2011 and 2015 before joining Warrington.
Yep, decent bit of business for them to pick him up.
Well, if he gets... I worried about his fitness when I saw him in the Toronto side, and I also worried about his appetite and desire. But obviously, getting back into Super League suggests that there is that appetite and desire still there, which is a big positive. And I think he probably had the best season of his career. The best 2 seasons of his career, I'd say, was his last season at Hull and his first season at Warrington. So if you can rediscover that sort of form, and he's only 28, and he's only on a prove-it deal really till the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not going to be in the sort of relaxing state. He is going to have to prove it, or basically it's back to the Championship in some respect.
Yeah, and it won't be on the same level of contract that he was getting at the Wolfpack. You wouldn't have thought at all if he has to make a demotion there. So I think it's potentially a top signing, but we'll see.
There we go. And we've got some news from Widnes, and they have broken with their
surprising news
with their tradition. And I feel the Widnes might be dead, if anything, the Widnes deal. But Widnes Vikings forward Matt Whitley has signed a new 3-year deal to keep the 22-year-old with the Super League club until the end of 2021. And also at Widnes, forward Brad Walker has signed a new 3-year deal to keep him with the Super League club until the end of 2021. And also 20-year-old made his league debut in 2016. So Widnes breaking the wage structure.
Well, we don't know what they're paid, but it's certainly, the Widnes fans want them to do something different, so they're mapping out a new future there with 3-year deals. A team that's been handing out some serious deals is my Wigan Warriors. We start with winger Liam Marshall. He signed a new 4-year deal with the Super League club. The 21-year-old came through their academy, and finally, after dropping down to reserves and league and championship, he signed professional terms with the Cherry and Whites last year only, and now he's signed his second new contract in the last 12 months, a 4-year deal. And joining him was a player who also signed a new deal in the middle of the last year, but has had that bumped up and extended out, and it's fellow winger Tom Davies. He's signed a new 5-year contract, keeping him with the Super League side until At the end of 2023, the 21-year-old, who only made his debut last year, scored 14 tries in 24 games so far for Wigan. So 2 strike weapons on the wings signed up, and then a couple of forwards as well have signed up. Willie Iser, he agreed to a new 3-year contract at Wigan, 29